Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Pour arranger toute bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Pour j'ai montré nous capables. Avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie, besoin ou en cure chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Pour qu'arranger toute bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. J'ai montré nous capables avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'a ouvert sauver nous. Nous qu'a senti l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie besoin ou en cure chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Pour qu'arranger toute bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Merci en que chasse pour l'amour. Pour respect, pour tout peuple là. Nous besoin pour sauver pays. Nous voulons ouais Saint-Lucie briller.
Caribbean American News Media, your Tuesday night power hour. Live every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and GVV TV channel 115. Join your host, Garfield Oliver, as he dives deep into the latest inclusion developments, regional affairs, and global issues that matter to you. From politics to the economy, community stories to international headlines. We cover it all with real talk and real insights. Stay informed, get the facts, be part of the conversation. Don't miss out. Set your reminders, share with your friends, and tune in. Caribbean American News Media, the news you report.
special good night to all our viewers here on Caribbean American News Media Platform. We want to apologize for the late start. Of course, we are live on the air. Please tag a friend. We were not able to share on our end, so we invite you to share this stream. I believe our YouTube channel is up. We're having some technical issues. As a matter of fact, major technical issues here in studio, but we're still going to try to broadcast. We might not be, based on the signals that I'm seeing here, we might not be on our GVD TV channel tonight. We'll have to bear you'll have to bear with me tonight as I try to get all these things up and running, but we do have some glitches here in our studio. So again, we do apologize for any inconvenience. Our system seems to be getting outdated as far as I'm concerned, and we got to do something quickly about it. But thank you so much, my friends, for being here with us. Again, share the live and tag a friend. So again, we might not be on GVD TV, or we might not be on our YouTube channel. It is showing that our YouTube is an active link, but we are not getting through. Please just bear with me. Our technicians are trying to get us set up. Just bear with me. Give us a few minutes. Greetings again. We are live on the air. I believe we're on channel 115 at this time. That is GVD TV. That is Flow Friends. But we're having some issues over with our the YouTube channel. My half of my system, I can't make it out, so I'm not sure what is happening over there. But it is showing now that I might be live on the air. That is our YouTube channel. So you got to bear with us, folks. It is what it is. But let's get straight to work at this time. Straight to work. Straight to work. All right. But share the live, tag a friend, and let them know that we are on. We are late, but we are on. We are on. We are on. All right, so something is going on there, so we should be connecting again shortly on our GVD feed. Okay, so good. All right, so we have some work to be done. Someone said we're not on GVD as yet, but yes, we're working on it, folks. We have our system is giving us a whole lot of problems, and we are planning, we are trying to get it replaced. So it is a lot of stuff that we got to contend with here on the platform. All right. And so we have a lot of warning lights around us here. But we will try to see how far we can get on the show. Yes. So some people are saying they cannot get us on the YouTube channel. Yes. Some people are saying they can't. So we acknowledge the issue, folks, but it is what it is, and I can only do as much here with all the red lights and orange lights signaling me saying this thing is going to crash tonight. But we're going to push through as much as we can. I know some of you are trying to get, those of you on YouTube, share it with those that you believe viewing or would normally view it on the YouTube channels. I don't know what to say here. All right, so but greetings to all. So we have a number of promotions and issues that we got to deal with. I'm going to go right in it. I'm not going to rant tonight. Let's go to some UWP promotion. We have Laura. Laura is having her, she's inviting all to the grand opening of her campaign office. This is Laura Japet Noel, and that is Friday the 17th of October 2025. That is Friday the 17th of October 2025. So that is Laura. Laura is inviting you to the opening of her office, the People's Office, over there, the bridge in and the campaign office that is in she is from Labrie, of course. All right, and so all are invited. Please go over and support Laura. Somebody's asking what channel it is in St. Lucia. It is GVD TV channel 115, but our system have been failing us for the past month or two, and we seems to be having the final lapse of that system tonight. All right, so tonight what I'm going to do, we're going to have the show, but I'm not going to take the chance anymore for the broadcast. We will do our best to get the new system up and running. So tonight we're going to just try to make it through the night with the system, and that would be it. Okay. All right, folks. So let's continue with our promotion. Of course, we have our brother Chico is having a cottage meeting. That is Peter Chico. That is Wednesday the 15th of October 2025 at 6 p.m. And that is the Bacatel. That is Bacatel Road. Bacatel Road. For more information, 572-5619. 572-572 2691. That is Peter Chico, and that is his town hall meeting. Again, share the live, tag a friend. Those of you who are looking for us on the YouTube channel, I don't think you're going to find us there. And we were in contact with the technicians over at GVD TV channel 115, and we monitoring to see whether I do not see that feed, the figures showing up for GVD TV. So let us just hope that we get connected over there. All right, so just bear with us, folks, and as I said, we will get you through the show tonight. We have another promotion, and that is for Dennery South. This is Benson Emil, and is also an office opening. His office opening, that is for Dennery South, and his office for the first time in the history of the United Workers' Party, that the Dennery South office is going to be in Lakai. So the location is Lakai, and that is on the 18th, Saturday, October 2025 at 6 p.m. All right, so that is Benson Emil of the United Workers' Party, and that is the opening of his office there in Lakai, Dennery. All right, and that is, somebody is saying here, okay, so I saw something like a correction on the screen, but it disappeared. But we have a promotion here for the 18th of October 2025. If that needs to be corrected, of course, I'm going to ask you to reach out to me, somebody, so that we can get the right information up and running. Okay. Tonight we're dependent on you to share. We're having some major issues in studio, and we do apologize for all those who are waiting for the show. All right, so we have another promotion. And they're coming in quickly, so we will share them. Someone is saying that Ben is opening his office tomorrow at 6 p.m. So it seems like the flyer, the poster that we have, is incorrect, so somebody will have to call in to rectify that. Okay. All right, so we have Dominic Fede community meetings. That's Ancillary and Canaries, October 2025. Here is the schedule. One of them is gone tonight. That is tonight. That is gone. So Thursday the 16th, Vernard community meeting. That is 6:30 p.m. Vernard Gap. We have on Friday the 17th, Yellow Friday Barbecue, Ancillary Village. Yellow is the code. That is at 6 p.m. So Friday 17th, and we have Yellow Friday Barbecue. Yellow is the code. That is 6 p.m. And that is for Ancillary Canaries. And of course, you have Mr. Dominic Fede, who is inviting you to support that cause. All right, and we have, now let me just do some cleaning up so the system can have less pressure, so we can have some smooth running tonight. We have another promotion, and that is for New York.
$50 registration gets you a t-shirt, food, drinks, and access to our post-walking gathering at 154 Utica Avenue. Let's turn the boardwalk pink with love, unity, and pride. Register now by sending an email to slndc2019@gmail.com. You may also call or WhatsApp at 347-528-0589 or 347-701-6572 or 347-392-8282. You can't attend in person? No problem. You can still support the cause against breast cancer and our walk by making a donation. Contact the SLNDC for details. Hey, family.
All right, so we do have some information coming in for Benson Emil's office, and that is there are two offices that will be open. the village office. The village office will be open tomorrow, Wednesday, the 15th. And Lakai is going to be next week, Wednesday. That is the 22nd. All right. So tomorrow's opening will be at 7 p.m. So for Dennery South, the Benson Email opening office opening, 2 offices, one in Lakai. As I said, that's for the first time that is happening. That one would be on Wednesday, the 22nd of October. And there is an opening for tomorrow, the 15th. That is Wednesday, the 15th, Dennery. Lakai would be next Wednesday, the 22nd of October. And we're looking at tomorrow's event, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. That is the correction there. So let me just read to you these other promotions that we have here. The New York St. Lucia National Day Committee, Inc. presents Making Strides Against Breast Cancer in collaboration with the American Cancer Society. All right, now this is for all our people in the diaspora in New York, in Brooklyn. This one is for you, and I believe that the men need to accompany their wives, their daughters, their mothers to this event so that we can bring awareness. We have lost a number of St. Lucians, and I know there are other people who are dying of breast cancer, but we've lost a lot of St. Lucian for this year with breast cancer. And condolences to all the bereaved families. I know my neighbor in Dennery who lived here, also my neighbor here in New York, died of this dreaded disease. Okay, so they're presenting in collaboration with the American Cancer Society, New York, USA, October the 14th. That is today. St. Lucia National Day Committee, Inc. is proud to partner with the American Cancer Society. They invite you to, the public actually, to join us for a powerful event. They're going to be highlighting breast cancer. Okay, and that the date is Sunday, October the 26th. Sunday, October the 26th, time at 8 p.m. And the location is the Coney Island Bird Walk, 1904 Surf Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. So here is the address for the event. That this is a promotion from New York St. Lucia, the New York St. Lucian or St. Lucian National Day Committee. Sunday, October the 26th, time 8 a.m. Location, the Coney Island Bird Walk, 1904 Surf Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. All right, so this walk is more than a fundraiser. It's a movement. Every step on the survivors. Remember the loved ones of those who are lost and stand in solidarity with those still battling breast cancer. Together, we strive towards a future without fear. Registration for package, $50 US for donation, including official event t-shirt, bottled water, food and refreshment, access to post-walk gathering at 154 Utica Avenue. Transportation options available at an additional cost. So you meet at 154 Utica Avenue for transportation options, which are available at extra cost. All right, so please register. There is an email. The email is slndc2019@gmail.com, or you can call on WhatsApp 347-528-0589 or 347-701-6572, 347-392-8282. All right, so that's it for the St. Lucia National Day Committee, Inc. Don't forget that event, October the 26th, Sunday, October the 26th at 8 a.m. And registration package, $50 US, including official t-shirts, bottled water, food and refreshment, access to post-walk gathering, at 154 Julia Avenue. Transportation options are available. All right. Anyone who needs more information on this, you can go back to this live, or you can contact me at 347-623-9183, 912-586-1821. Okay, 1821. I want to big up these individuals. We have a lot of work to do tonight, but we're going to take our time with it. Okay, share the live, tag a friend. These are some buddies. I remember these men from Dennery. I remember them when I was younger, growing up in Dennery, and they are strong supporters of the United Workers' Party. They're from Dennery South, and I am so happy to see these young men standing tall with Benson Immel, giving him all the support over there in Dennery South. All right, so these are my two buddies there that I want to big up tonight from Dennery South. I believe these pictures was taken from the from Guy Joseph community last Sunday's event. All right, so kudos. I just wanted to big up these brothers. It's good to big up people, you know, ever so often when you come across these pictures. So these are two brothers from the Dennery community, and you know, I recognize them, so I wanted to play them. I wanted to put those pictures up. So share the live, tag a friend, folks. We did not share the platform tonight. We're having major technical issues, and we might not be on GVD TV, and also our YouTube channel is sending conflicting signal to our server, and there's not much we can do, but at least Facebook is keeping us floating for tonight. Now let me just do a final check, and then we will continue with the tasks ahead. Of course, we'll continue with the tasks ahead. All right, so my final one, I almost missed this one. I don't want to miss it. I want you to support this gentleman. All right, it is Raymond and Sons Handyman. He comes with his truck, his van, well equipped with all equipments and everything else, and he does all sorts of renovations, all sorts of homes, offices, businesses, renovation. And so you can patronize his business. The number is 646-696-1473 for all your building and construction needs. He comes with a van loaded with all equipment and everything else, and he does a very clean job. I just used him at the church. We just used him at the church on Sunday for some work, some repairs, and that's why I'm promoting his business tonight. I have tested and proven the gentleman, and so let's support our people. Doesn't matter what political sides they're from, but you are one people, and remember, sons and daughters of Saint Lucia. All right, so we have some work to do. So Castries Central, I believe, Castries Central, there's a game changer there, and we have a gentleman, Mr. Felix, I believe, who is on the scene now. This gentleman, we know that I believe it was a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, he had to step down from the Senate as the president, and he is now back in the political arena, Stanley Felix, and he is, friends, the third candidate that will be running in Castries Central. Now, let me tell you something that I'm gathering out of Castries Central. There is a gentleman over there who claimed to be an independent. Of course, that's Buddy, RF. And RF at some point felt that he had this seat locked down, and, you know, in spite of all the bullying and the name calling and the insults and the nastiness towards vendors and people in the country, he kept knocking his chest. Yeah, I got this locked down and all is well. The flubber, this little boy Rush can never, you know, it's like brush him off and everything else. But here comes a third candidate, a third individual in this fight. And many believe political pundit believe that this is going to be a game changer, of course, in Castries Central. Now, all eyes are now on Castries Central. Huh? All eyes are now on Castries Central. Now, I'm going to say something to you tonight. There is only one independent candidate in Castries Central, and that is this gentleman here, Stanley Felix. Now, he has no affiliation with the United Workers' Party. The United Workers' Party is not in any agreement with him, like we saw with the Labour Party and Richard Frederick, of course. Remember, the Labour Party did not put up a candidate in the last election, and Mr. Pear made it abundantly clear that is not going to happen this time either. So, we have Richard Frederick, SLP. Again, Richard Frederick, SLP. Not independent as far as most political pundits are concerned. And now we have a real independent candidate. And that is in the person of Stanley Felix. Now, we have Rush Clark, who is the endorsed candidate of the United Workers' Party. Now, here's a problem, folks. Richard has done a lot of bullying. And it sounds like a lot of people are not comfortable with that type of leadership or those type of individuals in our politics. Mr. Felix decide, look, I don't like it either, and I can do something about it. I can run. Now, I remember Mr. Felix being a SLP, registered SLP guy, but this story is developing, of course, and you will hear the full story from Mr. Felix. Now, I'm not here endorsing him. My endorsement is to the United Workers' Party candidate, and that is Rush Clark, and that's all it is. All right? I don't want nobody to come here and tell me stop doing anything. This is my platform, and I'm going to manage the show in a way that I have planned it. So I don't want nobody to tell me that I'm promoting anyone. When you do that, you're questioning my loyalty and my commitment to the United Workers' Party, and it hurts every time that happens. I don't like people question my commitment, my loyalty to anything, whether it's a church, whether it's to my family, whether it's to my job or to anything that I'm involved in. It is not the right thing to do, and I hope you understand, folks, that that's not the right thing to do. And I have no attitude, my friend. I have no attitude. I'm speaking my mind as a grown individual. So what I'm saying, and when I lost my trend of thought, my friend, I'm not upset. I'm just speaking up. I'm just speaking up as a broadcaster, as a pundit here tonight. So as I said earlier, my endorsement is Rush Clark, but let's just look at what is happening here, the game change in Castries Central. And here is the game changer. Mr. Felix, in an interview, now we're working on getting those interviews, in an interview on one of the networks said that he was left out there basically alone during his time, those difficult, when he was going through his problems, his issues, of course, that none of these guys called him from the Labour Party. So he was just left out there basically to dry. He was abandoned, in other words. And I believe that Felix had a long time, Mr. Felix had a long time, he's a lawyer, he had a long time to reflect and to make a decision what he was going to do. And it sounds to me like he's not planning to be a hypocrite, of course. He's planning to go out there and campaign against the St. Lucia Labour Party. because he's, if you listen to his opening statements or his presentation last night, the man is saying, look, that he was betrayed. In spite of the betrayal, and even in his presentation, he spoke about vendors and other people being abused. And we know that these individuals were not abused by Rush Clark of the United Workers' Party. As a matter of fact, Rush Clark stood with the vendors. He stood with the individuals in the CDC, especially when the family of one of our supporters had the issue in the CDC, where you had one of the people from housing going on, can I help you, and making statements that I believe, in my estimate, was not right, especially at a time when these people are hurting. So Rush Clark stood with the vendors and stood with the residents of the CDC. So for me, I am not afraid for the United Workers' Party in this fight. I am not afraid for Rush Clark. I am not even concerned about RF, because my horse in the game is Rush Clark. And not that I'm calling him a horse, of course, that's my guy. But the problem is that Mr. Felix, not the problem for us, the problem for them is that Mr. Felix comes with votes. And every vote counts for this gentleman, Frederick. Every vote counts for him. So we're going to watch this space. We're going to look at the different debates and the different back and forth from Mr. Frederick, and we know how RF is. We want to watch and see whether he's going to come after Mr. Felix, what he's going to say. We know he has no control at some point. He's just going to come and say what he wants to say. And I want to look at the strategy of Mr. Felix, how he's going to respond to the brutal attacks that will come his way. That is what I'll be watching, and I'm sure many of you friends will be watching. But I am saying to you that the whole political landscape in Castries Central is no longer what it was last week. It is different now, and I am just waiting to see what is going to be the response of RF on this gentleman. You right? So let's watch the space. Let's watch the space, friends, and see what is going to go down in Castries. Now, there's a situation that took place in Dennery, South, where I believe the chairman of the village council, Dexter, I know the gentleman. We saw a viral video going around where elderly, and I know the gentleman, an elderly gentleman who is mentally challenged. Not of his fault, but he's mentally challenged. He's an elderly man. We saw him with a yellow t-shirt. And in that video, we saw something that was troubling to those of us who are decent, those of us who understand boundaries, self-control, and all the other beautiful things that a civilized society should, characteristics that civilized people should have. What we saw, folks, what we saw is the SLP guy pulling that UWP shirt off of the gentleman, and you can see the gentleman can hardly stand up straight, and he's pulling it off, and then he throws it on the road. And then he places an SLP shirt on the guy. When I saw that on Sunday, I quickly pinned a letter demanding an apology from the St. Lucia Labour Party. Now, I don't know that if that's why they did anything, but the point is that, in my estimate, those things are not called for. And I hear some people say, well, that always happened. It's nothing new and we're just having fun. When you're having your fun, you got to be careful, because a lot of people were having fun during the banana strike when they burned down our banana shed in Dennery. Maybe they thought they were having fun. And if that's how the SLP have fun, I would tell you it's not funny. It's not funny at all. When you destroy people things, or when you start targeting people, insulting them, and when you start to threaten their lives, of course, that's not funny. So, let's go over to a HTS clip. A HTS clip. No, not a HTS. A Hot FM news report from their newsroom tonight. Yeah, Jojo. Yes, you're right. Moi Jojo pa nou pa fache nou pa agume ma agume. Moi même ko Jojo ka di bagay li, moi même ka di bagay moi. And that's how we roll as UWP. And we good to go. So let's go over to this clip, friends. Just bear with me.
Public opinion. The SLP's General Secretary, Leo Clark, responded to the footage and the growing calls for accountability.
A short clip circulating widely online appears to show a local council chairman, also a member of the National Housing Authority Board, removing a UWP t-shirt from a man with an
condoned by the Labour Party. This is not something that you will hear anybody in the leadership level of the Labour Party condone, support. It is not. In fact, when I saw it, before we got talking now, I sent a message to the person, because the person is in fact well connected in the Labour Party. And I asked him, how does that behavior help the St. Lucia Labour Party?
He added that the party's posture is to protect the dignity of citizens and to treat allegations involving vulnerable people with the seriousness they deserve. Clark stated that whilst one may be driven in the pursuit of promoting the party, there is a right way to do so.
People get over-exuberant, overzealous about, political support. And they do things that are unacceptable, like what I saw there. But I think the gentleman clearly stated that he's sorry that it happened. He knows he holds a very senior position in an organization in the constituency, and he should not do that sort of thing. And and he has clearly indicated that he's sorry that it has happened.
Clark notes, however, that from both sides of the political divide, there are similar situations which occur and do not make it to social media that must be condemned in the very same way. He calls comments which denotes this as the MO of the Labour Party misplaced and indicated that the party's language is one of love and prosperity for all.
I saw comments suggesting that because of that, what appears that makes the Labour Party an abusive party that should be gotten rid of. That's not the first time that I have seen somebody, even persons in the higher level of the UWP. I saw a candidate at one time, Peter Josie, kicking a Labour Party shirt. I saw Timothy Mangal kicking a Labour Party shirt. I do not believe it's a good practice. I see no reason why I should kick a UWP shirt. I mean, UWP shirts don't determine the outcome of election. And I would not associate myself with behavior of that kind. And I think the more important thing is that the Labour Party is well on course to return to government. And the Labour Party's actions in government under the leadership of Prime Minister Pierre has shown the opposite in terms of its consideration for people who may be in some way handicapped or the other. It has gone out of the way to assist.
The viral clip has put a spotlight on respect for vulnerable citizens. The SLP General Secretary says those who seek to use one unfortunate and regrettable situation to brand an entire organization is seeking to merely score cheap political points. He instead posited that the public should remain focused on the policy actions of government.
Okay, so I'm not going to peddle all the propaganda among what we're trying to do here. So here's where I'm going to debunk Mr. Clark's, I think Leo Clark, the General Secretary of the Labour Party. There are incidents that are worse than this one in Dennery that you said nothing about. And I want to ask you, how is your party a party that promotes love? And you guys are tolerating a gentleman in your government insulting women, insulting citizens, embarrassing citizens week after week, and you say nothing about it. I'm just asking, of course. My other question is, sir, where is the apology from the gentleman? Who did he apologize to? Where is the apology? I'm going to give you a few seconds to answer if you can, of course. Huh?
That's a very good question. But the one I like the best is how you intend to address it. Intending to address it is not in my it's not in my past the stage where I intended when I can address it. But it's up to, you know.
So this is not genuine as far as I'm concerned. If you want to set some standards, you will start by asking your people to calm down and stop threatening people. Stop insulting people that are not doing anything to them at all, but are speaking. Stop insulting people who have a different opinion from you. Stop coming after innocent, decent people who are not mentioning your name. All they're saying is that they love the United Workers' Party, they love the Honorable Alan Chasney. You can ask them to calm themselves down, of course. So where is the love you're talking about? When we have been seeing hate, destruction, and nastiness for the last 4 years. And you expect us at this point to say, well, yes, hallelujah, somebody apologized for some nastiness. There were worse nastiness, sir, and you guys said nothing about it. Nothing at all. But I know why you are responding. I know why you're responding. It is because you're close to an election, of course. And like the Prime Minister said, the machine of the Labour Party is moving now. And you should not underestimate us. Why don't you start again? I'm going to repeat myself, sir. Why don't you start by asking your people to respect the opinions? And the United Workers' Party people too. We all got to respect the opinions of others and stay on the issues. Can't go and talk about people's mother, their children, their auntie. Unless their aunt committed some major crime in the country, or their daughter or their son or their cousin committed some crime in the country, then we can talk about that. But leave people, children out of this. Leave their mother out. Let's focus on the issue. When you do that, sir, and when you stand up and you say to Mr. Pear, stop telling the supporters to go into the faces of the UWP and tell them they lose. When you stand up and rebuke the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, then we will start to give you a listening ear. But I would say to you that we have not seen any apology. I have not seen any apology on any news network or in any newspaper. I have not seen it. But good try. Now, I want to speak to this lady on RevUp. I think the name is Mary Polius. I don't know if she's listening to me, but I know somebody is listening. Maybe Shell is listening, or somebody else. But I want to play something for you, St. Lucians. I want to play something for you that I got from a lady on RevUp. Now, let me see if I can get it over. If we did pull it over on the platform. If we didn't, then you know what? I will play it for you. I have it, but it is not in our system. I think the system bumped it out. So let's just put it out. Mary, I believe Mary Polius is the name. Bear with me, folks. Tonight is a little rough because we're having some major issues with our system, like I told you. All right? So let's see if we can pull it up quickly. All right. Yes, there it is. It's not on the system, remember, but I am going to play it, and I want you to listen to Mary Polius on RevUp. I believe it was yesterday. All right?
Qui nous pas ce vaccin. Ça c'est premier bail là pour établir. Nous pas ni pièce ni de pour vaccin. Parce que quand un petit pays c'est gros pays a ben nous mise vaccin. OK? L'Angleterre, US là ben nous mise vaccin. Ou même ça, la tenue mise.
OK, India
oui, m'a changé tout le monde qui ben nous mais
au Guyana,
yo ben ti vaccin. Jean cette ici pas ti prendre vaccin comme Jean cette ici ni toute raison pour tu pas prendre vaccin. Changer quand t'es avertissement qui t'est sorti un ministre pour santé qu'a plaider avec monde pour prendre vaccin. Pour prendre vaccin en chaque monde.
Ça oui.
Pas prendre vaccin. N'a nous seule raison pour prendre vaccin parce que moi t'ai voulu si moi t'ai pour voyager parce que sous pas t'es pas ça voyager. C'est pour ça moi t'ai pas parce que moi t'ai quoi en dedans ou moi t'ai voulu parce que moi point après moi t'ai une Covid. Moi j'ai une Covid et après ça mon point mais moi tout pas t'ai voulu pour vaccin. Parce que ben là c'est ça, c'est pas pour dire ma quoi en monde qui vous savez bah comment mais moi d'ici ma bouisin si moi sorti ma bouisin moi toujours t'ai quoi si moi j'ai une Covid m'a mort. OK? C'est la
So let me just get this straight with this lady, Mary Polius. Mary Polius said that we did not need the vaccine at the time. And she's saying that because Alan Chasney's administration put aside maybe $3 million or $2 or whatever it is, $1 million so that he could have gotten vaccine for the citizens of the country. Now, at the time, the world governments were saying, look, if you don't vaccine your people, if you don't get those vaccines in, remember the discussions, folks. Many of you saw it on CNN, on Fox News, on MSNBC. Most of you know what was going on. Let's not pretend that we did not know what was happening at the beginning. So let me just refresh your memory for those, of course, who are now playing this nasty game, I call it. Now let's remember what happened. So COVID came on the scene. Nobody knew what was happening. People were dying. small St. Lucia or St. Lucians were watching the world news and they were seeing in Brooklyn bodies lining up in containers. The people of St. Lucia, like many other nations in the region, were afraid, they were panicking because they were witnessing something that they did not understand. Now remember, folks, again, in Brooklyn alone, containers upon containers to store dead bodies had to be brought in. Let me remind her. And I witnessed some of those containers with my own eyes. Because every day during COVID, I had to go into the hospitals. So I witnessed every time I entered through the side door, the back door of the hospital, that there were dead bodies coming out as I go in. And I witnessed undertakers lining up in order to retrieve bodies from the hospital. I saw the hospital ordering specialized equipment to get the dead moving out of the hospitals. I saw it with my own eyes. And so the Caribbean people, St. Lucians, were viewing, they were afraid. And so the world governments are saying, guys, this is serious. We're going to lose millions and millions of people. People were dropping dead by the seconds. They were dropping dead by the seconds. And, my friends, the world government was saying to the people, we got a vaccine quickly. We got to vaccine our people in large numbers so that we can save people. Everybody was panicking because at the time they were just studying the virus and they developed the vaccines and they're saying, look, this thing seems to be working at the initial stage and people need to. And then something happened. We had a shortage of ventilators. The big countries were sucking up all the ventilators on the world market. So you had small countries being disadvantaged, and so the small countries had to come together with different countries in order to compete with the giants for these equipment. We saw ventilators shortages in some countries. We saw it. So for Miss Mary Poilier to come to act as though it was just a little flu, and she know that nothing would happen to her, that she would be able to survive it, and that we needed no vaccines at the time, this is the Labour Party for you. And so the bigger governments were fighting. New York State, I remember they were competing and they were fighting for ventilators. They were trying, because major countries were stockpiling these supplies, medical supplies. We had situations in Brooklyn where the Jews were stockpiling the masks, the gloves, and we had shortage of even rubbing alcohol. Even hand sanitizer, we had shortage. And I'll tell you what I had to do, Mary Poilier. I had to travel up into Long Island looking for rum, not to drink. Listen to me, I have never gone shopping for alcohol. And then I had to be driving from alcohol store to alcohol store until, guess what I found? And I was giving one of the elders a story on Sunday. Guess what type of alcohol I found up in Long Island? I found the strongest alcohol in the region, and that is Sunset Rum out of St. Vincent. I quickly recognized it when I saw it. And I bought it because we had to make our own hand sanitizers at the time. There were shortages because major countries were sucking up the supplies and they were not moving fast enough. with the demand. And so every one of us had to start making. So we had to get aloes, and we had to get the strong rum, and we had to make hand sanitizers, make things to help us to keep the virus away from us and to keep our families safe. Homes, people, local houses had to come up with ideas for survival. But Mary Polius is acting yesterday like it was just the common cold and we needed nothing. And I want to tell you how dangerous that statement is and how dangerous the St. Lucia Labour Party is to the health of the nation. And this is a statement, a dangerous statement. So, for vaccines, and I'm refreshing your mind because some of you, Chastney did nothing. Chastney almost killed us during COVID. No, he did his best to save his people as Prime Minister of the country. He did not run from you and tell you he don't know is the doctors. He stood with the doctors at press conferences. He stood with the police and the emergency people before you, the citizens of the country. Don't forget, because we have had major crisis in the country for the past 4 years with crime, and your Prime Minister start hiding and telling you, I'm not the police, it's my father, and I don't know about the dog, I don't know about this, and he never knew nothing. In times of crisis when you needed him most, he never knew. He never knew. But Alan Chastney stood front line with the frontline workers. He too was a frontline worker. Don't forget. Don't forget that he got sick too. Don't forget that night and day there was a command center rolling in the country. And for this woman to make such a statement, a careless statement, and I'll tell you why it's careless. I'll show you, St. Lucia, why it's careless. I'll show you why it's a careless statement for Mary Polius to be making on Rev Up. It's a shame. When we lost thousands of people, millions of people in the world, and this is just a light moment for her. I knew I was not going to die. That's what she said. I knew I was not going to die. And we didn't need the vaccine. Alan Chastney gave his family the money. We didn't need the vaccine. Now I have to get upset, folks, because I knew what families went through. I knew I lost my brother-in-law to COVID-19. I saw him wasted before my eyes. I saw people not being able to go and bury their own loved ones. I saw families who could not even see their mother for the last time. I saw it. And you don't forget, some of you lost your loved ones too. And so anything people would have done at the time to save their life. People were willing to take vaccines. They were willing to drink all sorts of stuff. Even Trump was willing to inject himself with Clorox. People were willing to do whatever it took to survive. People saw their loved ones just whisked away. Some people delivered their families to the hospital and never saw them again, not even to bury them. And Mary Polius from the SLP party is on a radio station acting as though it was just a little common cold that will go away in 3 days. Just to score some nasty point that makes no sense at all. Alan Chastney stole the vaccine money, he gave it to his family because he was broke. So let me remind you, St. Lucians, let me remind you how dangerous the SLP was for your health, and is still dangerous today. So, we had a vaccine crisis. So people were scrambling to order vaccines. The bigger countries had more success in getting the vaccines. Smaller countries were being crushed India decided to send some of what they have over to St. Lucia and other Caribbean islands just to help, because there was a request by all the governments in the Caribbean for vaccines. They were reaching out to everybody, and all they were hearing is that, boy, America, England, these big countries, Canada, they're sucking the vaccines up, and you guys got to come into groups, form groups. You guys have to do stuff in order to be able to get your vaccines. That's what Alan Chasney had to face. A crisis where he's hearing in his ear that the bigger countries, they're sucking up the supplies, and small countries are left at a vulnerable place, and they too, based on the infrastructure in the country, were not prepared for such a crisis. It wasn't prepared. Don't play with me tonight. They were not prepared. They were not prepared. These small countries, hospital-wise and supplies, ventilators, they were not prepared. Mr. Chasney had to be on the phone begging and asking for support. St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves, he went and he put some requirement, vaccine requirement, and firing half of the government workers, teachers, and nurses because they did not take the vaccine, lost their benefits. He was reckless. Not Alan Chasney. Because I would have preferred that those workers maintain their jobs and we lose $3 million. But we never lost no $3 million. There was a genuine attempt to get vaccines based on based on the advice of the thing. So, based on the World Health Organization, you know, countries had to listen to the experts. There ain't no vaccine experts in St. Lucia. There ain't no COVID-19 expert at the time. None of them knew anything really about COVID-19 like that. My brother-in-law was an epidemiologist. And while we were in church sitting and we got the news that there is this virus and everything, my first thing when I called an emergency meeting with the elders, the first thing my brother-in-law said to me, Garfield, we got to shut this ship down. First thing he said to me, he said, we'll have to isolate ourselves. We'll have to quarantine ourselves. We'll have to get the church locked down emergency. When he said that to me, I knew something was up. And by the time he said that, we got calls from our conference and risk management that we got to shut down immediately. So don't come here and tell me. And there are folks who will make excuse for this, you know. They will say, that's not what she meant. And yeah. I want you to go back in times. That's what I want you to mean. Go back in times. Some of you were scared for your life too. Huh? And so, there was a push for the SLP in opposition to get their vaccines, and they were all over the place whispering, it's Chasney, there's not a big crisis, Chasney, and we are the worst prepared, and all the nastiness they were doing and having people protesting during COVID, there was a danger to the health of the nation. And here is a reckless statement by this lady that we did no pate bouze vaccine là. Nou pate bouze, nou te nou pou jete vaccine. And they know the discussions. They knew what the discussions were at the time, not only in St. Lucia, but around the world. Brace for a major crisis. More people will die. Communities will be wiped out. And a prime minister hearing that, what would you do? You would spend any money in the world to save your people, of course. You put in people first. Huh? Thank God it was under Alan Chasney we managed COVID-19. Because he put the people first. And he paid for it. And he's still paying today, because that's why Mary Polios could have made that statement, because she's believing that, based on their narratives, that Mr. Shasta stole and he was reckless. He stole the money and gave it to his family. That's what they're saying, basically. So, at the time, the information we had was that the vaccine was safe. And with vaccines, of course, you got to look at the negative effects versus the positive effects of any medicine at all you're taking. You got to weigh the negative versus the positive, the benefits, the advantage over the disadvantage. And they were saying, look, you might have issues, but this thing is going to help you. It's going to help you. Yeah? I almost lost my life too. I had the worst case of COVID-19. Weakened me. Weakened me to the point almost of death, where the medical people had to send supplies to the house to save my life. So this is personal for me, of course. Huh? And I exposed myself to COVID because I was a frontline worker and I had to be out there. I had no choice. I had to be out there. And then I had to supply our church members with goods so that they can survive through the shutdown. We had to deliver foods and groceries to them. And I volunteered by myself to get all the supplies and deliver it to every member, one house at a time. I can never forget it. I had to go and get the groceries. I had to package them, and I had to deliver them one member at a time. So this is no joke. This is no joke when you can't breathe. Huh? And so, oh God. Whew. And so, Alan Chastney and many of the other Caribbean countries, they saw an opportunity to get vaccine. People have contacts. You don't have to be a vaccine expert, or you don't have to be an expert in something to have a link or a connection to vaccines. Because at the time, that's how it was happening. People would call their contact and say, look, I need $2 million worth of vaccines. We will pay the $2 million to get it, but we need a guarantee of the supplies. And that is exactly what happened. We didn't have nobody stealing money or nobody intending to rob the nation. What we had was a man who put the people first and wanted to save lives. And if he had to spend $100 million to do it, he would have done it to save the people. He would have done it. And that's a leader with a heart. And I want you to listen to this lady again. And then she says she knows she was not going to die because of her faith. You know the amount of Christians were buried because of their faith? Do you know, lady? Do you know? Do you know the amount of dead faith people we had during COVID-19? Do you know every time the amount of formal services that were being done at the churches? Huh? Do you know? Listen to this again.
Qui nous pas ces vaccins. Ça c'est premier bail là pour établir. Nous pas ni pièce ni de pour vaccin. Parce que quand un petit pays, c'est gros pays a ban nous misi vaccin. OK? L'Angleterre, US là ban nous misi vaccin. Ou même ça, la termi misi.
OK, India
oui, m'a changé tout le monde qui ban nous mais
au Guyana,
yo ban nous ti vaccin. Jean cette ici pas ti ka prendre vaccin quoi. Jean cette ici t'es ni toute raison pour tu pas prendre vaccin. Changer quand t'es avertissement qui t'es ka sorti un ministre pour santé ka plaider avec monde pour prendre vaccin.
So you hear she's boasting that now people have a choice that they didn't want to take it and they wasn't taking it, and even the opposition jump on board at some point begging the people to take the vaccine when they understood, when they started understanding that this is beyond politics and that it was serious. They themselves started taking it themselves. They were taking it. So looking back now, we know that, it is what it is, that there's some issues. Lani, yonder problem, vaccine like by so if you have a weakened immune system and the COVID-19 had take you, it would have taken you out. Vaccine by now we're understanding. But there are whole billions of people who are still alive after taking the vaccine. But that was the information at the time. Did I take it? No. Did I take it? I said, no, I did not. But at the time, it was something that's the information. If the information was if you drink coconut water, you wouldn't get it, everybody would be drinking coconut water. So at the time, the information was vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Remember, there was a campaign around the world, vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. Then we started speaking about herd immunity. Remember those things? Reverend, the information was just coming at us. All sorts of research and information kept coming up, and they kept studying the scientists, and more information and modification and stuff started happening, folks. And St. Lucia, it seems like Miss Polios wanted St. Lucia to just lay back and just allow things to go on. And we saw the Prime Minister said, let the people be free. We heard he led the same thing too. The boys want Netflix. That was the concern. Netflix. You remember the concerns for them? It was not really COVID-19, of course. It was not the millions of people that was losing their lives. And we saw 400 St. Lucians. 400 St. Lucians losing their lives. Yeah?
Pour prendre vaccine en chaïboun.
Ça oui.
Pas prendre vaccine. N'a nous seul raison pour prendre vaccine parce que moi.
Now listen to this selfishness. Listen to this. Listen.
Si moi t'es pour voyager parce que sous pas t'es pour pas ça voyager. C'est pour ça moi t'es pas parce que moi t'es quoi en dedans ou moi t'es vle parce que moi point après moi t'es une Covid. Moi j'ai une Covid et après ça mon point mais moi tout pas t'es vle pour vaccine. Parce que là c'est ça, c'est pas pour dire ma quoi en monde qui vous savez comment mais moi d'ici ma brisé si moi senti ma brisé, moi toujours t'es quoi si moi une Covid m'a mort. OK? C'est la foi.
So, la foi, il pas qu'à bon si joindre. But what about the 100 of St. Lucians who lost their lives because they got it? Yeah? Because you have your children overseas and you had to travel, you took it. And you took it because it was in St. Lucia. It was brought into St. Lucia. That's how you got it. Yeah? And remember at one point we started getting supplies and supplies of vaccines. Yeah? Somebody paid for it. It came into the country, whether donated or bought. And I say to you, St. Lucians, be very, very careful with these people. Be very careful with these people. And this is a warning. This is a warning. Okay, so let me play this now. I don't have time to put the thing on the air, but let me play this that I just got.
That means $7 billion in terms of the vaccines. Some of that money has been repaid.
Sorry about that. I did not yet to play all, but that was an incident where Philip J. in New York was saying, well, we We got some of the monies of the vaccine. We got some of the monies. Yeah. Just bear with me, folks. I'm getting one or two stuff. Now let me read from one of our folks on our WhatsApp group. It says, Brother Garfield, could you imagine if Shas didn't do anything to get the vaccines and it turned out that it was really the lifesaver and people started dying like flies? Shas would have been hanged. And that is true. If it had turned out the other way around, they would have blamed him of being a white man who don't care, having his foot on the necks of black people. That's what they would have done. That's what they would have said, folks. They would have turned it around. That woman would have been on that show today, bringing down hell, fire, and brimstone on Alan Chastney. You understand what I'm saying? So as a leader, I'm just saying, in times of crisis, leadership matters. I am saying to you, friends, you want to look at the quick decisions during COVID-19 of Alan Chastney, and look at the non-decisions of Philip Japere during this crime crisis in the country. Look at his non-action at the time when people were begging for help at the grocery stores during the whole shipping issues. You saw what he did. He added 2.5% to you guys. And at the end of his politics, his prime ministership, he says to them, look, we giving you 0 rated. This is what, look. Never touch the gas price. In times of crisis, leadership matters. And Chastney had to make some decisions, friends, that will keep you sleepless for days. Just like presidents at some point got to make decisions that would haunt them for the rest of their life. Shoot down the airline or not. Sacrifice this, do this. Great leaders had to make those choices and not hide behind anybody else. Every opportunity Pierre gets, he tell you he don't know, or asks this one is not him. Yeah? But that's it. I spent a lot of time on the COVID-19 situation there. But that is to be continued, because that story is not finished. You hear me? It's not the end of it. So, I have something here that I want to share with you. Listen to it.
CDC buildings once stood. This comes after the infrastructure minister stated that he and Pierre met an African investor who is a shareholder with the African Export-Import Bank that would be investing in a town centre at Leclerc.
There is no investment deal, okay? That's another thing I hear. Probably it's in another cabinet. I don't know about no investment deal. I don't know about that. You know, sometimes it fascinates me when I hear people talk about investment deals. It's about, I mean, every day people get requests. Every day there are requests for people to invest in St. Lucia. Every day we have too many.
The statement seemingly contradicts the announcement made by Infrastructure Minister Stephenson King on Friday, October 3rd, during the Meet the Minister program on Reverb St. Lucia.
He was so excited by the proposal that he visited St. Lucia soon after, visited the site, saw what we've got there, and have agreed to proceed with the investment. However, as a responsible government, we have the necessary due diligence to perform, notwithstanding the fact that he's a member of the Afrik-Exim Bank. We have to perform the due diligence. He has to be written to, which we have already done. He has responded rather to us, and we are now in the position of engaging him fully into discussion because of the range of services that he's talking about.
Pierre says that the project with the investor has not been finalized. For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoot reporting.
So we have a situation with the Rock Hall, look, I lost my train of thought there. The CDC buildings that were taken down in La Clary. And Stevenson King went on the same rev up, of course. And he said to St. Lucians, well, yeah, we have something going on here. You know, we have an African investor that we spoke to, I believe in Grenada, and he came down to see it, and he's all excited based on the proposal. You know, so yeah, man, we have something going on there. It's going to be all kind of businesses and this and that. You guys heard King with your own ears. And the question is asked to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. So what about this deal in La Clary? And the Prime Minister says, what deal? What deal? What deal? Listen.
Notwithstanding the fact that he's a member of the Exim Bank, we have to perform the due diligence. He has to be written to, which we have already done. He has responded.
So we have already done. Now, I don't know if King is his own Prime Minister of La Clary and Mr. Pierre is the Prime Minister of the rest of St. Lucia, but he said we. In other words, we are in communication with an African. The government of St. Lucia is in communications with an African gentleman, developer, to develop the old CDC property there in thing. Huh? That's what he said, right? So the question is asked to the Prime Minister by a reporter, of course. So what about the deal? What's going on there? What deal? What deal? What deal? I don't have any deal. I mean, you're talking about another cabinet, or I don't know anything about that. Now here's the deception, and I'm going to unpackage the deception of this Prime Minister. You know, all the Prime Minister had to say to St. Lucians, and it was to fix everything, is that yes, we do not have a final deal as yet. We are working out the details, but we are in communications with an African gentleman to develop the area. We have already written to him, and it sounds like he have already agreed on the proposal that was submitted, and our people, we are working, and we will give you more information as we get closer to the end of finalizing a deal. He never did that to you, St. Lucians. And Mr. Pierre always does this. On important matters, he plays around, he fools around, and we call him a very cute Prime Minister, one who is smart and one who put the people first. No, if the people are asking you questions, sir, you don't play around. You answer the question. You have done it over and over and over again. We didn't hire you as a clown to pappy show the citizens. And of course you can have light moments and laugh at times, but you are doing this too often with serious matters. And then now people are saying, well, King is a snake, he's a liar. Well, I don't know. That's what the people are saying. They're calling him King Cobra, King everything, King Liar. They're even singing songs on him. Teacher, say if you tell a lie, you will go to hell, and all these kind of stories, all because you playing around. and throw him, King, under the bus. So I'm going to break it down for St. Lucians. St. Lucians. These guys are close, very close to finalizing a deal for the property in Leclerc. And that's it. Point blank. They are close to making a deal with the investor. Story done. So don't play. Last jouer XFL juste ici. Ou ka pou se moun pou papi show. C'est ça ou ka fait. Ou ka servi se moun la faire magie. Ek bagay la c'est ça. L'année yon de moun ki kay vin jiwe mwen, ek di mwen maman mwen, ek toton mwen, ek tout, ek ti mamay mwen, ek madame mwen, yo kay jiwe mwen. Mais just listen, mother call. Est ça moi just dit là, est moi wrong. Si a moun mande wa question, ça ou kay fe, ou kay wepon se moun la, because yo vle sav, ou kay di yo, alright, si sa, se kwa ye, ek ba ek kon. In other words, you are enlightening the people. But you can't let the people leave a press conference and they're more in darkness than in light, of course. So yeah, Satan. The people want light. The people want to know the truth. So your minister, King, is saying one thing and you are saying something totally different. And we supposed to just clap and like it. That's what the SLP really wants you to do. Pas rien. Mais c'est chasné. Tansa. Si King te fait même bagay sa about chasné, pe sa même te kay grilly. I'm going to say it again. If the same King had not backslide from the UWP, and he had done the very same thing, then Philip J. would have been in a press conference, jumping up and down, losing his voice on this matter. He would have been calling St. Lucians, especially those in Leclerc, to protest. The government is not putting you first. They are putting foreigners, putting you before friends and foreigners. You know all the stories, folks. So don't act as though you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah? Moi, ça vous dit, viens, c'est des saints. You are an enemy of the state. You should not come to St. Lucia.
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how you intend to address it. Intending to address it is not in my... it's not in my...
Every time you listen to the Prime Minister, he's ha on serious matters. So, let's go to something. Let's go to a press conference before we leave from the Prime Minister of St. Lucia.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and I thank you for being here again for yet another Monday of pre-cabinet press briefing. Today our first presenter is Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, the Youth Economy. He's also the Minister for Justice and National Security. And today, press briefing will take a slightly different turn as the Prime Minister will speak to an open mic where you get to ask him whatever you want. But a few housekeeping rules, I remind you to be respectful. And with that, I welcome the Prime Minister.
I'm all yours. That's been a brave man, eh?
Surprise there.
Huh?
You have the advantage here.
Yeah?
You have the advantage.
Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. In the past few days, we have heard stories about the police's insurance. The president of the PWA has stated that some of the claims about the invoices and so on are not true. What do you say to this?
The last word I heard from the Parliament Secretary, you see, the minister does not get involved in administrative matters. There seems to be a belief that the minister, especially when he's the Prime Minister, gets involved in the nitty-gritty of these things. That's not a fact. Last thing I heard from the Parliament Secretary was all insurance invoices have been paid. All.
So, here the game now. Here is the same game that the Prime Minister is playing. So he said that it was the fault of the PW, the Police Welfare Association, PWA, people who did not submit the thing, the invoice, and it's them to blame, not him, you have the money, blah, blah, blah. So she's asking him a follow-up question, so what's going on there? And he's saying, well, is the Permanent Secretary, is them. I don't get involved in those things. It's them, it's not me. All the last thing I heard, all the invoices are paid already. All the invoices are paid. I want you to listen this again. Listen to this again, St. Lucians. Listen. Listen.
Trenton, as the Prime Minister will speak to an open mic where you get to ask him whatever you want.
Open mic.
But a few housekeeping rules, I remind you to be respectful. And with that, I welcome the Prime Minister.
Listen, folks.
I'm all yours. That's been a brave man, eh?
Surprise there.
Huh?
You have the advantage here.
Yeah?
You have the advantage.
Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. In the past few days, we have heard stories about the police's insurance. The president of the PWA has stated that some of the claims about the invoices and so on are not true. What do you say to this?
The last word I heard from the Parliament Secretary, you see, the minister does not get involved in administrative matters. There seems to be a belief that the minister, especially when he's the Prime Minister, gets involved in the nitty-gritty of these things. That's not a fact. Last thing I heard from the Parliament Secretary was all insurance invoices have been paid. All. And talking about the police, I want to say to you that the government has ordered 1,300 special belts.
So he gone on belt. She's speaking about insurance. Now, he already malmilling her cervelle. And he's gone on belts. The last time I checked, the Police Welfare Association was not talking about belts. He was talking about insurance. Now you realize how fast the insurance was paid? That's what he's basically saying, that we paid, we fix it, it's fixed now. But that's not what he's telling her. But that's what he should be telling her, that yes, we had a problem, we rectified, we do apologize to the police, but we did take care of it, and all the invoices going forward has been paid and everything is okay now. That's not what he said. He tried to brush it off like there was not a problem. And you all think that Because, you know, especially Prime Minister will get into everything and stop. This Prime Minister he's not aware of a lot of stuff that is happening in government, and this is scary. Yeah? He really don't. I'm telling you, he don't. And what he did there, honestly, in malmening that young girl's cervelle, it is not nice, of course. So the answer should be, again, Mr. Prime Minister, is yes, we did have a problem. We were able to rectify it, and we're sorry, but we were able to pay all the invoices, so there is no outstanding invoices. The insurance is up to date now, and you know, we will continue to support the police. And you move on. But he moved on before he moved on, and made it look like it's basically what I'm gathering, if I did not have the information, is that it was the police problem, not our problem. It's you all, it's them. Yeah, them. But what I heard from the permanent secretary is that it's good. That's what we got to deal with, friends, until that Monday, when he will have no choice but to help the people out, get his foot off of the necks of the people. Yeah. Okay, so let's listen a little more and then we'll close.
So the last word I got from the minister, the permanent secretary, was that the belts were under construction. The belts were under, well, not construction, but they were being built. There was an.
You spoke about the increased investment on the youth economy. On the youth, could you go into detail?
Yes.
Was that a little?
Sure. Well, you know, the youth economy has been a very successful venture, and if I can say it for the young people, there are scores of young people, over 1,000, who have benefited from the youth economy.
We're going to just play it forward, folks.
The money available to the youth economy for grants. Is it as things are? The Youth Economy Agency works on a purely, it's only last week, some colleagues came from Grenada to see government lost once, won in my constituency, never lost again, and I don't intend to either. And then, but was in opposition for some time. It fascinates me what passes for politics in international these days. It really fascinates me. I mean, it fascinates me, the things that I hear, the illogical things.
Okay, Mr. Prime Minister, let me just remind you that you have an entire network that you need to look at, and you do look at, and you are aware of what is happening there, the insults to citizens. So don't pretend like, the politics, I don't know what this is, I don't like it, and this is not. You know exactly what is going on. You know, sir. Why come to pretend like you don't know? There's a host of nastiness and threats and all kind of stuff going on. How you don't know? The last time you said you didn't hear what Richard said about the doctor who wrote the letter. You didn't hear. You didn't hear. He was sitting next to you. You were there. You said you didn't hear. Huh? And I can go on and on and on in things that you didn't hear. But all of a sudden, you don't know about this, and in politics, and it's nasty, and all these things. When you're not checking your site, sir, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You told us that he was RF was one of us. He was with you all, you all know you all. He used to think us, you know, yeah. Yeah. Lord.
The personal attacks, the aggrandizement of
personal attacks? Personal attacks, sir? Do you hear the nastiest thing they say about Mr. Shastney? Did you hear on your SLP network where they said that I should be stopped as a citizen from coming into the country? A citizen should be stopped because of his opinion. And you're talking about acting as though you yourself fall out of heaven too? Huh?
Else, what I have done, it really is sad to see what passes politics in St. Lucia. My politics is about...
Yes, you need to look in your cabinet to see what passes for politics in the country. You need to look at the House sitting to see what passes for politics in the country.
I don't have to come and say I was successful if I was in politics. You have to judge that.
You said you are a 5 or 6 star general. You keep boasting about it, that you never lose and you don't plan to lose. You just did it.
To serve people. So the idea that the politics have reached a stage of personality.
You brought it there because my stepfather lost his shed. You guys burned it down. You did a lot of stuff. Plywood city and all the other things, of course. Let's not pretend. Yeah?
Respect St. Lucians. Respect them. I will never, and that word never has become a very common word these days, get involved in any activity that disrespects the intelligence of St. Lucians, even though
oh my world, St. Lucians.
And say whatever you want. All parties have bases. So you go in a room and you just bash people. That's your base. They accept it. All political parties have bases. They accept whatever you tell them. But I've told my colleagues in the Labour Party, let's not disrespect our base. Let's respect our...
And usher him out. Take his microphone.
Say whatever you want to them because and they cheer you. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Some of the things I hear on the political platforms in St. Lucia are ridiculous. And I really hope that we can raise the bar. Let's talk about that.
You can start on Thursday nights and on mornings.
in people's personal lives. We go into all kind of innuendo.
I heard someone try to give people the idea that they maybe had liked Miss Alan Shastney, Miss Shastney. You heard that the night. Yeah, you didn't hear it.
Stanley Felix put his hands in the ring. What's your thoughts on Stanley Felix coming in the ring?
The last time I read the Constitution of St. Lucia, it was a democracy. So that is.
But the Labour Party is not sending anyone to contest because Richard Frederick is not a member of the Central.
The Labour Party has been clear that in Castries Central and Castries North, the candidates are Stevenson King, better known as the Blue Wave. And that's a very good question. But what I like the best is how you intend to address it.
And the supporter of Stanley Felix, was he a member of your party? And is he still a member of the Central Labour Party?
The last time I read the Constitution, we were in a democracy. And anyone can run elections once you have $250.
Is Stanley Felix still a member of the Central Labour Party?
As far as I know, the last time, I don't know whether he's paid his fees recently, but the last time I know, he was still a member of the Labour Party.
And we've always said and done so. A lot of people seem to believe that the National Labour Party is waiting to call election on the promise of St. Jude's.
Listen to this, folks. St. Jude's coming.
I told you yesterday, elections will be on a Monday. I still hold elections will be on a Monday. But St. Jude's is doing well, doing very well, very well. Last time I heard, I know most of the soft furniture was here. The equipment, again, there are supply chain issues, and
here we go again, supply chain issues.
But I can tell you that the physical infrastructure of St. Jude, ready for commissioning, will happen before the end of the year. I can tell you that clearly, that the physical infrastructure at St. Jude will be ready.
Now, I want you to listen to his words. The physical infrastructure will be ready. Just listen to that. The physical infrastructure will be ready. And I want you to listen to Philip J. maybe 3 or 4 minutes later after he said the physical structure will be ready very soon.
To be commissioned, will be ready.
So does that mean people will be at the hospital?
Again, I said that the physical infrastructure. Let's talk about being ready to go to the hospital. And conveniently, we have very short.
So, folks, once you hear Philip J. start straying, then you know there's a problem. So, first of all, he said the physical infrastructure will be ready. So the question is, would the hospital be ready for people? Then he starts playing his game. So what he's doing, he's setting up himself in case something happened, he can come back and say, I never said that. I never said that. Pay attention. The infrastructure will be ready. The question now is, and this is a good reporter, the question now is, will it be ready for people, for patients? Pour moun atwe si yo malade. All right? Es l'hôpital la kay pawe. Pour les moun hen blessé ba kon han, yo sa atwe. Ek se nurses se doctors la sa pweke. Se moun la m'écoute.
Means, Lucia, that people who were in government pretend as if they would never.
So he gone now with his politics. He's very good on that, of course. He's good when it comes to these stuff. He's good, but when it comes to the matters, the issues that matters to you most, you can't see me going, of course. So now he's now going from, will the hospital be ready? Pour moun atwe di dain, to the past government, and he's going on a long rant, of course, to tell you something different at the end. Now, kute rant la, me say, put chair. Go and drink your ginger tea or your bush tea, put chow pa for mal. Me kute, just it, see.
They behave like newbies. They came from nowhere. They just landed. It's really something that amuses me when I take some time to hear what I hear. These will behave as if they came from above. I mean, the late Vernon John used to call them Marmons or something. So when in Parliament, he had thing about Marmons. Vernon John is a man who's good with words. I probably may have pronounced it wrongly. He's as if they came from nowhere.
No, Marmons mean humans.
OKE Hospital? Remember that, right? What happened in OKE Hospital? When the government changed in 2016, OKE Hospital was ready. When did it get commissioned? 2020.
Okay, so let me just remind you. Now he went over. I thought he would stay away from the OKEU hospital, of course, when he's comparing it with St. Jude's, but they had to go there. Now he's trying to pull Chasney into the whole mix right now. So, by the way, the St. Jude's hospital is his. That's his project. All right? The OKEU hospital was their project. So guess what they did? They had a ceremony to open, based on what he's saying about St. Jude's, the infrastructure. Stay with me, St. Lucians. Remember, the reporter asked him about the opening of St. Jude's, and he said the infrastructure will be ready. Do you remember that they opened the OKEU hospital? Well, let's listen. Let's just repeat what he said with St. Jude. The infrastructure had a grand opening ceremony. It's called a naming ceremony for the hospital. But the hospital was not ready for people. The hospital was opened with a grand ceremony. A matter of fact, the infrastructure based on what he's saying now, of course. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense to you. I hope I make sense to you. Now, I'm just repeating the gentleman's own words. The infrastructure will be ready for opening. OKEU, the infrastructure was named and monies were spent for a grand ceremony, but there was not a doctor at the OKEU hospital for months, and maybe somebody can guide me, maybe 2 years or more, until, of course, COVID-19. So the infrastructure at the OKEU was opened. You pateni your doctor or nurse at the del hospital. So the infrastructure was ready. Mr. Pear, I'm going to ask you before I continue with you. Are you saying that the infrastructure at St. Jude's will be ready, but la pakaini mun ka operate at the dime? Is this the same thing going to happen again as the OKEU? But I know you want to blame Alan Shastney, of course, for not opening the hospital that you guys, when you named the hospital, you guys could have opened it one time. The infrastructure was left there. Ek la pateni your doctor at the dime. But you can fool the people maybe one time. Well, it depends on the people. It depends on the people. You know, you can fool them all the time. So, you can fool the people some of the time, but not all the time. You can fool them all the times. Yeah, it's just like that. It's just the truth. But let's listen to Prime Minister Pear.
But suddenly you have people who are behaving as if St. Jude, once you finish it, people must be there. Doesn't happen. You have to commission it. You have to get the physical infrastructure can be ready. But the commission
I got him. Folks, I got him. And the reporters miss it. So he's saying that you have to have the infrastructure ready first, and then you will have the commissioning. When was the OKEU commissioned? When was the commissioning of the OKEU hospital? Are we going to see a repeat at St. Jude's? Because you tried to pull a fast one on the reporters and it skipped them. They didn't get it. I guarantee you they didn't get it. So you're saying that the possibility is there that the infrastructure will be ready for opening. But then, based on what you're saying now, but you have to do the infrastructure and then you have the commissioning. Folks, I might be a little slow. I don't know. Forgive me. You guys will have to forgive me. I don't want to misrepresent the Prime Minister, honestly. So let's listen to him in his own words.
It was ready. When did it get commissioned? 2020 during COVID. But suddenly you have people who are behaving as if St. Jude, once you finish it, people must be there. Doesn't happen. You have to commission it. You have to get the physical infrastructure can be ready. But the commission also takes time. As happening. That's a very good question. Whatever I like the best is how we intend to address it. Attending to address it is not in my it's not in my I've passed the stage where when I can address it. But it's up to, in the season that we live in, you can't even have a joke because some talk show hosts.
Yeah, that's me. That's a joke, Mr. Prime Minister. Of course, you know that's a joke, right? What you just did there. But I'm going to play it slowly again because a lot of people are missing these things. The things that you're saying, people got to pay very good attention to it because you will mislead them. They got to pay it. I see you. I understand you, They got to take their time and listen to you. Listen to what you said first and what you said in the center and what you say at the end. And they got to measure it. That's how they're going to get you. On St. Jude Hospital, listen, folks.
These people.
Let's go back.
Hospital? Remember that, right? What happened at OKU Hospital? When the government changed in 2016, OKU Hospital was ready. When did it get commissioned? 2020 during COVID. But suddenly you have people who are behaving as if St. Jude, once you finish it, people must be there. Doesn't happen. You have to commission it. You have to get the physical infrastructure can be ready. But the commission also takes time, as happened in OKU. But again, these people, in their desperation, pretend as if they've forgotten. They've forgotten.
So, folks, I don't mean to stop him all the time, but he's making an argument. He's making an argument in support of the incoming UWP administration in 2016 having to commission the hospital in 2020. Now he's saying for St. Jude, it takes time. You just open it. You have to have the infrastructure, and then it takes time. People just think that it happens. It takes time. But he's saying that they waited from 2016 to 2020 to open the hospital that they had a ceremony for and consider it to be ready and good. But now he's trying to say that, I don't know who he's talking about. Anyway, I'm confused because I don't know. Well, let's listen.
OKU, we had a commissioning team led by Dr. Stephen King. That was set up in 2016, 2015 to set it up. 2016, 2017, 2018. In 2017, they were fired. Then 2018, we had people from the Cayman Islands.
Okay, so let's stop. So the Prime Minister is saying that the hospital was ready or readied like him in 2015. The elections was in 2016. So the hospital was ready in 2015. The St. Lucia Labour Party did not open the hospital, commission it, and then they called the elections because something had happened. And they said they had a commissioning team under Mr. King that they had put in place in 2015, but the hospital could not have been opened between 2015 and 2016. I hope this is not St. Jude's he's talking about. That it will be open in 2025, and then we'll call elections in 2026, so we can come back with the same playbook. But we opened the hospital. We had a plan in place, and Shasta did not open it in 2026. Deja vu, friends. Deja vu.
The personal attacks on me will get more intense because I know the history. And Rick will tell you that. I know the history. Your friend Rick. He will tell you the history. I know the history. I've been there. I know the history. So nobody can what use the common word, mama guy me. That's why they have to come at me, because I know the history. 2016, Kenny Anthony formed Stephen King, in 2015 in anticipation for the opening of the hospital. Remember that? Remember that? Remember that, yeah? I want you to remember.
I remember.
Right, good. The elections came in 2016. We lost. Right? Stephen King and them were dismissed in 2017. 2017. 2018. You know, again, we pretend as if COVID was there from 2016. COVID was not in 2016. Members of the press, COVID was in full bloom in 2020. And you also must remember the Delta variant. That was in 2021, 22.
So, folks, let me just summarize this quickly. I know you got to go to bed, but bear with me. So he's saying that Mr. King was hired and his team to commission the hospital 2015. Alan Shastner came in 2017. He was still there. And 2017, they were replaced. So these guys had 2015, 2016, 2017 to open the OKEU hospital, based on what I'm hearing from the Prime Minister. 3 years to open it. Three years, basically. We can even give them 2.5 years to open the hospital. But let's say 3. Because based on what the Prime Minister is saying, King got replaced in 2016-17. So Shastner still allowed these guys to continue the commissioning plans. Okay, good. Let's continue. I don't know. I'm just learning here, folks. You gotta bear with
there
me.
was talk of people dying on Victoria Hospital corridors. Recall these things. Don't let this, and you know, the time is going to come when we're going to be recording all that history. For these
So I don't know what that means, recording. It's already been recorded in the history, in the archives of St. Lucia, so I'm not even sure what time is coming again.
In 2020, when you're going to come in 2021, 2022, don't know what was my first act? One of my first acts was to make people more comfortable.
So, actually, we were talking about St. Jude's, of course. So he's on OKEU. He's on the Victoria Hospital. He left St. Jude's a long time ago. You all realize that, right? Prime Minister left St. Jude long time ago. The question is still there, you know. But he gone all around the bush. Let's wait for him.
At that place, you understand? What happened? Thousands of dollars were spent.
So he's still over there. We're still waiting, of course. He's just doing his stuff. So we're waiting until he can come. Now, I'm not positive. I'm talking while he's talking, but you're not hearing him. But I'm going to pull it back so you can hear him still talking about what he's talking, except the St. Jude's question.
What they call it when you isolate people? What do you call it? Quarantine. Because of the quarantine situation, they couldn't go up there. We are the ones who employed client officers.
So, all right, there we go.
Get the necessary gap and go and give the people their supplies, their parents were over there. People were going crazy up there. A man hanged himself. So I'm telling you all that to tell you, all these convenient memory losses.
So a man hang himself. All right, go ahead.
Commission of the hospital. So in 2015, Kenny Anthony formed it. 2016, we lost the elections. 2017, they were fired. And OKU Hospital, even though it was physically ready, it was not commissioned until 2020 by the same St. Lucians. Some of them were fired. And the excuse was they had to get professionals. So you had Cayman City, were paid.
All right, here we go, folks. It's coming.
Part of it was to commission a new hospital. So when you get the hypocrisy of St. Jude must have people fighting.
So wait.
See, this is bordering on I don't want to use the word.
So are you saying that we St. Jude's? What would you like? What would you like to let the people your history be? What would you St. Jude's? What would you want your history to be?
My history on St. Jude would be that under this government we completed the physical infrastructure at St. Jude to have it ready for commissioning. That's what I want.
Oh boy. So folks, that's your story on St. Jude's. Many of you missed this. Based on what the Prime Minister is saying, St. Jude's is this infrastructure based on him is going to be finished and is going to be there for the commissioning. Déjà vu, just to see. Déjà vu, oh.
That's a very good question. Whatever I like the best is how we intend to address it.
Most folks miss that. Did you miss all this? Did you miss it, St. Lucians? That the St. Jude Hospital is being used as a political basketball, just like the OKEU hospital? Now remember what happened with OKEU? They finished the hospital, the infrastructure is ready, never commissioned. Is it sounding the same? St. Jude's Hospital, building finish, waiting for commissioning, elections is called. And the possibility of change of government. A new government might have to go over the whole commissioning plan again. Are you seeing deja vu? Is it the same thing? Talk to me, St. Lucians. Those of you who are right thinking. But I say munda ki ka boy kou dedla or boy sayo ka boy or e cool koyo pa bon. I'm speaking about those of you who are thinking, who are reasoning. Did you hear this or did you miss what the Prime Minister said? Do you see OKEU all over again? St. Lucians, I'm talking to you. And I know you're not going to share the live. I want you to screenshot this and send it to your let it go viral. Did you hear what the Prime Minister said? I am feeling OKEU all over again. And my prediction is that if the United Workers' Party wins, they will have to be responsible for the opening of this St. Jude thing. If the United Workers' Party win the elections. Deja vu. Infrastructure. He said it earlier, played games, played with the words. Infrastructure is finished. But it will take time to commission. So it sounds to me that the people of St. Jude's will be a little longer in the stadium. Is that what you're hearing? Se workers la, se muna ki ka travay St. Jude's, adi da stadium la, yo kay ni pou wete a timet adi da stadium la because building la kay fini, me yo kay ni pou espere pou gouvernement commission St. Jude. And they are trying to finish it this year. And I am feeling in my spirit also that the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, people were talking about the December elections, but it feels to me that the Prime Minister of St. Lucia will, as soon as next year, early next year, or a little later, try to commission the hospital, push for the commissioning of the hospital. That's another scenario, and call the elections the Monday after that hospital is commissioned. It will be commissioned, I suspect, a Sunday. That's the second scenario, folks. Commission a Sunday and the elections on a Monday or something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe it's too late for me and I need to relax. Wise Mia?
That's a very good question. Whether I like.
Listen to me, I'm only human. I'm just a man, of course. But something is wrong here. Something, and he's playing with words just like he played with the insurance. It's paid, it's paid. In other words, there was not a problem. That's what it is. So that is left open there. And when he speaks, he leaves things open so that he can come back and close the door. That's how he speaks. We build infrastructure, the infrastructure. So when you hear it will be ready, you are thinking that the hospital will be functioning, it will be taking in patients and everything else, but that's not what Prime Minister is saying, if you listen closely. And again, to confirm that, look at the OKEU hospital. Yeah? So let's close the show on this.
Jerry, the politics is not about me, you know. 20 people personalize the politics, It's not about me. It's about people. It's about the team that I serve on.
Details on the investment deal for the Cleary lands?
There is no investment deal, but okay. That's another thing that I hear. Probably it's in another cabinet. I don't know about no investment deal. I don't know about that. You know, sometimes it fascinates me when I hear people talk about investment deals. It's about, I mean, every day people get requests. Every day there are requests for people to invest in St. Lucia. Every day we have too many. We have too many housing requests. As I sit in my desk, I can show you 2 housing requests. I don't know if you want to call it deals. I can show you 2 requests for the desilting of the John Compton Dam. I can show you about 6 requests for new hotels in the country. So if you can go out and say there's a deal is when something is completed. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what.
So the Prime Minister is actually playing there. He is aware of what is happening, and he could have quickly, as I said earlier, he could have explained that differently to the reporter. He pretended like basically there's nothing going on, and he's acting like he's not involved in any negotiations, in any discussion, and he's almost, the Prime Minister is very much aware that he's almost at the place of closing off on the deal. There is something going on, just like GPH. There is something going on up there in Leclerc. He knows that. But again, he's playing with words, and he's leaving the door open so that he can close that door at some point. Huh? Listen again.
In it. But so, you may be, I'm sure, but I tell you something. You know,
there we go.
Again, the same people who talk about debt, the same people who talk about overtaxation.
Wait.
6 requests for new hotels in the country. So if you can go out and say there's a deal is when something is completed. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what may happen. Some people may have shown interest in it.
There we go.
But so, you may be, I'm sure, but I tell you something. You know, again.
Okay, so, folks, you can come to your own conclusions now. I just educated you. I just give you the information there on how he functions, his thought process, how he processes things. And the Prime Minister is very much aware. He's very much aware of what King is talking about. He's very much part of it. And it's not somebody just having an idea and want to do something. It is communication. It is negotiations. It is sealing the deal. And it's going to happen. All right? Folks, this has been another Caribbean American News Media broadcast. I hope that you did, even though we had all our technical issues on the system, and our GVD channel 115, I believe it is down, and also our YouTube channel, but we're happy we were able to spend some time here with you, of course. And I know that we did not disappoint you. I know that. I feel it in my spirit, though, that we did not disappoint you. But again, friends, I want you to go out there and be a blessing to others. Be a blessing to others. Go out there and be kindly affectionate one towards the other. Don't curse anybody out, friends. It's not the right thing to do. Talk about the issues. It's your country. And you have a right. The Labour Party people have a right to speak about their policies and their ideas. And the United Workers' Party people have a right to do so too. You don't need to pull people's mother and their children and all this nastiness in anything. So go out there and be your best. Practice righteousness in the nation. The Word of God says that righteousness do exalt the nation. Go out there and let righteousness exalt your nation, St. Lucia. Be kind to each other. Now here's a song that I found. Maybe you might like it. I don't know. I don't know, friends. This might be one that you would love.
Nous connaissons, on veut ouais nous content. On veut ouais nous prospérer. Entre chasse, nous c'est visionnaire.
Avec SOS plan en place. Tout le monde a fouillé pour l'idée. Yo pas collé ou c'est un nom qui ni vision pour pays. C'est Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Ou qu'arranger tout bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Où j'ai montré nous capables. Avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'à ouais on veut sauver nous. Nous qu'à sentir l'amour pour nous. Saint-Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Ou qu'à ranger toute bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. J'ai montré nous capables. Avec équipe pour à bon côté. Nous qu'à ouais ou venez sauver nous. Nous qu'à sentir l'amour pour nous. C'est Lucie besoin ou encore chasse. Yon l'idée qui ni tête bien solide. Ou qu'à ranger toute bagaille qui pas bon. Pour faire Saint-Lucie grand corps. Merci en que chose pour l'amour. Pour respect, pour tout peuple là. Nous besoin pour sauver le pays. Nous voulons Saint-Lucie.